Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of BSing Sports here on the BSing Network, where we do a little BS and we talk a whole lot of sports. With me, as always, on my Eagles recap show is Kyle. Kyle, how you doing, bud?
Hey, how you doing?
How we doing? How we doing? So obviously, the first thing we're going to talk about, we're going to jump right into it. I almost timed that perfectly with like the extra music, the little banner, and then our intro music. Show's supposed to start at 6. I'm a minute early. I do apologize. But let's talk about the Eagles' 28-23 win over the Dallas Cowboys, a game that ended up being literally down to the last play of the game, which I wouldn't have liked to have stressed through, but we did. Give me some of your initial thoughts on the Eagles Cowboys there, Kyle.
I mean, like you said, I guess the game was way closer than most people would have liked it to be.
Yeah.
And it came down to the final seconds, and actually a ton of defensive penalties on our end that were really kind of gross to be seeing, and
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
almost cost us the game ultimately. Right? I mean, there's a
No.
lot of things that almost cost us the game, but a lot of mistakes on both ends. But
Yeah, I mean, you're talking there
um,
were 20 combined penalties in that game.
yeah,
10 for the Eagles, 10 for the Cowboys. Obviously, two very, very, very big ones on that final drive against the Eagles defense.
yeah, big time. In fact, actually, that's been, I guess, the biggest problem with our defense has been these crucial penalties. Not so much the amount of penalties, but in big play situations. You know what I mean? Like giving up. Yeah, that too.
Well, yes, I do agree with you, Ken Brandt. Prevent D does suck. However, that's not what they were playing on the last drive of the game. What they're playing on the last drive of the game was don't get beat deep. The issue was they were getting beat and then holding, which was leading to these penalties. And I mean, if you're going to hold or have PI because you can't get your head around as a defensive back, the referees are going to call it these days. They're not going to let you play and see what happens. Like we've seen it as Eagles fans. Go back to the Super Bowl. Like we've seen it as Eagles fans. The refs are not going to let you play football. You need to be smarter. You need to be in position better. And honestly, against CeeDee Lamb, you just got to be faster, and you're not. So listen, I said before we played the Cowboys, CeeDee Lamb was going to get his, and he did. But I still thought the Eagles were going to win, and they did.
And they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't actually have the CeeDee Lamb stats up in front of me right now. However, I
No,
believe it
neither.
was I think it was 9 for 176 yards and a touchdown, which is really good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty
uh,
good.
no,
That's
I
right
mean,
up there with Noah Brown.
AJ, yeah, AJ Brown, yeah. I like I said prior to this Cowboys game, I said going into it, CeeDee Lamb was going to get his. There was nothing you could do. He was going to get his. You had to find a way to beat the rest of the team. And again, I think it's worth pointing out, Kyle, you and I touched on this slightly before the start of the show. The Eagles still aren't playing their best football. The Cowboys gave us their best game, and the Eagles still came out on top.
Yeah, 100%. In
Yeah.
fact, I also thought it was funny that I brought up not last week, but the week before, when we were actually talking about the Cowboys, that it was going to be crucial for Dak to use his legs, and that's what he's been doing. And he did that a couple times, and he paid for it a little bit too, which was nice to see. but
Yeah, I mean when he gets upended right there at the goal line with Darius Slay and Zach Cunningham. I remember when he fell on his head, my initial thought was, man, I hope he didn't break his neck. Fortunately, he didn't, because you
oh
don't want to
yeah,
see anybody get hurt.
yeah, Van
Um,
Der Esch is the one that did that, right?
Van Der Esch is now
Yeah,
out for the rest of the season and possibly the rest of his career with a
yeah,
neck injury. That is
yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know,
What?
Leighton Van Der Esch is the middle linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys. Um, But no, you go in. Listen, Dak didn't play poorly. 66% completion percentage, 374 yards, 3 touchdowns, a 115.2 QBR against the Philadelphia Eagles. Dak played one of his best games of the season against the Eagles, and he still lost.
Mm.
I need fans everywhere. Like, ignore the 28-3 score, ignore what happened in the first half. I need everybody to understand that the Eagles are 8-1 right now, and they have not played their best football. They have the Chiefs coming up. We'll get into that in a few minutes, but they still haven't shown their true potential. They don't look like the prolific and that's the craziest thing is their stats are so similar to last year, but they don't look on like the eye test, don't look like that prolific offense that we had a year ago. Imagine once they match up to the eye test, how good this offense is actually going to be. But I digress.
I think.
No, I just think it's like super huge for me to like continue to point out, especially the Cowboy fans. Dak Prescott played one of his best games, and he still lost. You need to be aware of that as an NL or NFC fan. That like, yeah, the Cowboys are kind of getting back into it now. The Niners are getting back into it now. The Lions still look pretty good outside of their absolute embarrassing loss to the Ravens a few weeks ago. The Lions still look pretty good.
Yeah, the thing that scares me about that is Jared Goff having this cloud over him. A lot of people doubt him, and for that exact reason, right? For that, like things that happened like in that game, right?
Yeah, exactly. He showed vintage Goff in that Ravens game.
Mm.
But what I was getting to was all three of those teams that I just mentioned, the 49ers have already shown their best ball. The Cowboys have already shown their best ball. The Lions are definitely showing some of their best ball. The Eagles, I would say, are probably shown us 80% of what they can do. Like 85 tops.
I'd say, yeah. I feel, honestly, and I do feel like that's a good point, because I do think that they're trying to hold on to a lot still, you know what I mean? Because we still have a lot of more football ahead of us, right?
That's true. And listen, if you're right and they're holding on to things, like if they just have like a whole other playbook literally just sitting aside to unleash for the second half of the season, I think you need to do it Monday against the Chiefs. For starters.
In fact, I heard some rumors that the whole reason they even won after Byard is to try and trap up Kelsey potentially. I don't know. That's just what I heard. It's a rumor. But
I think they probably have the same game plan they did in the Super Bowl, and they leave a safety over top wherever Kelsey's playing, and they play their slot corner against him. Now Byard is the safety that I would choose to play over top. If you've got Reed Blankenship and Bradley Roby, or Reed Blankenship and Eli Ricks in coverage against Travis Kelce, he's going to go for 220 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just saying.
Just saying.
Just saying.
Just saying.
But yeah, let's talk a little bit about Jalen Hurts against the Cowboys, right? Let's see. Let's move on to this one. So Jalen Hurts against the Cowboys completes 74% of his passes for only 207 yards and 2 touchdowns, 130.2 QBR. It's worth noting that Hurts has been playing, especially right before the end of the half when he really struggled to get up after getting his knee hit. He's been playing on one leg for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
He's gotten to the point where he's sick of answering questions about it. Media is asking him, I have to ask about your knee. And he just gets up and walks out of interviews at this point because he's tired of answering the question, what's wrong with your knee? Because he's already told us it's not that big a deal. I'm dealing with some pain. It's whatever. I'll play through it. I'll do anything for this team.
Well, even if there is something wrong with his knee, you don't want to give anything up to the opposition. Why the hell do you want to give your enemies anything? I don't know why I say your enemies, right? Like that's the way I look at it.
I mean, I got news for you. When they're playing, they are enemies. They could be the best friends off the field, but when you're playing the game,
we were just talking about this, right? About how there's this new kind of like atmosphere in the NFL where all these guys want to be best friends with each other, and it's like, dude, you're competing against these guys, dude. Like, where is the competitive drive? You know what I mean? Like, this guy could be your friend, but at the same time, you gotta want to kill this guy when you're playing against him, right?
Yeah, listen, I have nothing against you wanting to be friends when you're off the field, off season, bye weeks, whatever. You go be best friends. I don't care. But like this week, I don't want to see Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce embracing on the field. Like, no, that's the guy you're trying to beat.
Well, that's
end of story.
Right? I mean,
because
that's
they're
different.
brothers. Yeah,
well, that and because they also play on different sides of the ball too, right? Well, I mean, they play on the same side of the ball, so it's not like they don't against each other, right?
Yeah, it's not like Jason is a middle linebacker and is pulling up before he hits his brother in the chest. I hear what you're saying. But no, I'm right there with you that there's like this new stigma that like everybody needs to get along in the NFL. And honestly, I feel like on some level, I would love to see a little bit of that smash mouth again. I would love to see guys not penalized, like do it within the rules, but like I'd like to see some hits.
The Cowboys brought that to the game, and we didn't. I mean, they brought physical football to that game. They broke Goddard's arm or whatever. Like, I mean, like, come on, man.
I may get.
You're telling me that wasn't on purpose?
I think that was as dirty of a tackle as it possibly could have been. He's pulling. I get you're trying to make a tackle, but not only do
He
you
did
pull
some
him, not only do you
jujitsu
pull his
shit.
arm back, but
Ugh.
you intentionally let your legs out from under you to fall on the arm.
Mm.
That looked like a dirty hit to me. I'm thinking there
That
needed to
looked
be a
like a
penalty.
wrestling move.
Yeah. That is not an accurate stat. Peyton Manning did it once. Joe Montana did it once. Correction. Peyton with the Colts did it once. Montana with the Niners did it once. There's another quarterback. I'm trying to think about who it was. A bit older. No, a bit newer. Between Montana and Peyton. I don't know, but this is the fourth time in history that a team has gone back-to-back 8-1 seasons with the same quarterback. I'm sorry, Tim Hawkins says Eagles are the only team to start a season in 2 years in a row with an 8-1 or better record. Yeah, I mean, you really do got to attest a lot of that to Jalen Hurts. The guy is 25-27 in his last 27, or 25-2 in his last 27 starts.
I think you got to give it up to Howie, man. Howie's the one keeping everything locked down, dude. I mean,
I don't know what
he's
Tim,
the one bringing the talent in, right?
Listen, you and I have talked about this damn near every week we've done this show. It's a copycat league, and no other team has followed Howie's script. You build in the trenches, and then you move your way out.
I just found out this effing guy, dude. He did his thesis on the salary cap, dude, or something. Like I don't know if that's true, but that's what
seriously,
I heard.
Howie Roseman did his thesis in college on the salary cap of football.
Yeah, like dude, this guy is locked in, bro. This guy's like numbers, like just all day,
which is great. I'm very happy for his ability to manipulate a salary cap. I wish he was better in first round talent. He needs to listen. He's done pretty good. Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, yeah. But prior to that, Devontae Smith
and
too.
Devontae Smith. I was just about to say, right?
The last 3 years, he's been real good. But prior to that, Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, but I mean, Reagor's still got a job, right? He's in New England, right?
Yeah, he might be in New England. I don't know, but as a first round wide receiver, we probably should know your name.
Yeah.
All right. Tim Hawkins says Devontae Smith's time to step up. I think he's specifically addressing the way defenses are attempting to take away the next guy we're going to talk about, which is AJ Brown. Thanks you for the segue there, Tim Hawkins. I appreciate you. It's almost like you're in my head. But let's talk about AJ Brown for a little bit.
Wait, why didn't you call him by his nickname, dude?
I would love to talk about Optimus Prime Brown.
Okay? Optimus Prime Brown.
I'm still petitioning for Optimus Prime. I mean, the dude goes and beats Megatron's record. I think he needs a new Transformer nickname. And I mean, who beats up Megatron?
And he's
Optimus
Prime. Built like a statue as well. I mean, the guy's
the dude is a freak. Again, he goes 6 games straight, over 125 plus yards. The Cowboys did keep him to 7 receptions, 66 yards. However, he does still score a touchdown. The level that he's playing on right now is nothing short of all pro. Again, the Cowboys were able to minimize him to 66 yards. Now, again, it's a game where Jalen Hurts also only threw for 200 yards. So, you gotta go tit for tat here. Jalen Hurts didn't have his best game, still won. Jalen Hurts didn't have his best game.
You know what I was just thinking about with AJ Brown?
Go ahead.
Imagine if we had AJ Brown before he even ever hurt his knee. Imagine if we had that AJ Brown. Because these guys can't cover him now, dude.
No, listen,
you're right. Link, I mean, there's something special between these two. You know what I mean? Like, these guys love each other. They're best friends.
There's a trust, and that trust goes so far. Jalen is essentially at the point where he's like, I can't really be mobile. So if you look like you even have one step on your guy, I'm going to trust you to go get it. And AJ Brown is saying, I got you, bro.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on.
He gets that football. He carries that rock out of the sky with one hand. No problem.
Tim Hawkins clarified his comment and said it's Devontae Smith's time to step up, especially with the Goddard injury. I do agree with you. I think that Devontae Smith, here's the thing is I don't think Devontae Smith has been doing anything wrong.
Yeah, he's open. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
there
just
have been
whether the ball
plays.
gets there or not, you know?
There, excuse me, there have been plays where you watch the replay, and he is open, and Jalen either doesn't have time to get through his progression to get to him,
Doesn't
or he's
see
already
it.
thrown the ball to AJ Brown.
Yeah.
But no, I do agree with you. Now, specifically with Goddard being injured, I do think that not only Devontae Smith, I think Julio Jones probably needs to have a bigger role in this offense as an attempt to be another big body on the field who can catch the football. So I think the Julio Jones signing is going to look a lot bigger these next 4 weeks with Goddard being out. So I do agree with you there, Tim Hawkins. Also, I love he says best move Howie has made was he's referring to the Julio Jones signing. He agrees. Again, Tim Hawkins says he agrees. For those of you who are watching and have been watching and are following along, I'm trying to get everybody in the comments. Right now, it's just Tim Hawkins and Ken Brandt. But when they make comments, I'm trying to address them. I'm trying to talk to you guys. I want you to interact with us. I want the interaction. Please join us and interact with us. But yeah. So after getting off the AJ Brown thing, let's look ahead. Obviously, they have the Chiefs are sitting at 7-2. Patrick Mahomes is starting to look like vintage Patrick Mahomes. Travis Kelce. I'm 100% betting Taylor Swift is in the house. And I know it's such a stupid thing to say, and I'm sorry because I even get irritated with seeing her on the camera when they're watching the games. However, the dude catches over 100 yards every time she's in the stadium and less than 60 every time she's not. There might be something there. So obviously the Eagles defense have to be very, very much aware. Who is the Ken Brandt asks who is the tight end still now?
Oh,
Stall.
dude, we got Albert O, bro, right?
We did go get Albert O. I think I still think it's Calcaterra or Stall who get the snaps though.
Who?
Grant Calcaterra and Jack Stall. I think those are the guys who are going to get the snaps.
I guess I'm a shitty fan because I don't even know who
Tim Hawkins says he's worried about the off-script plays Mahomes can make against our defense, the Eagles defense, and I agree with you. Like I said in the last episode we did, Slay has lost a step. Bradbury has not looked like the elite shutdown corner that he did the last few years. Reed Blankenship is not a coverage corner. Kevin Byard, while he's a great signing, isn't a coverage safety. He's a free safety. He will go to the part of the field that he needs to be at. Blankenship is very similar in style to that aspect, except Blankenship is more known for laying hits. Yeah. So Ken Brandt says spy Mahomes. You risk opening somebody up in coverage if you're spying Mahomes, right? Because as Tim Hawkins alluded to, Mahomes is great at using his legs to create time. He doesn't always have to run. I mean, he did in the Super Bowl against us, but he doesn't always have to run. He's just really good at staying behind the pocket and looping out and finding receivers downfield because, the coverage breaks down. So I do agree that I am nervous about Patrick Mahomes this week against the Eagles. Obviously, I'm not going to give a prediction. I have a show Saturday night with other guys where we do predictions. We'll get into it there. But no, let me gauge your what's your concern about this upcoming week, Monday night against the Chiefs, Kyle?
My concern about the Chiefs?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess honestly, it's really their defense is what really freaks me out about the Chiefs, I guess, the matchup.
You mean the Chiefs defense or the Eagles defense against the Chiefs offense?
No, I guess, yeah. I mean, our defense is done pretty bad at like giving up yardage or whatever. You know what I mean? Like like you were just saying, like our corners are kind of like secondary. In a tricky, our secondary is in a bad spot right now. But I think their defense too. I think their defense has held up pretty well this year. I think
they have.
Like surprisingly so too. Like for some reason, their defense just seems to always, even when they won the Super Bowl that year, everybody was talking crap on their defense. And I mean, their defense got it done, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like they weren't amazing, but they won the Super Bowl.
Here's the thing with coaches that come out of Andy Reid's coaching tree. Steve Spagnuolo is one of those coaches. He's the defensive coordinator there in Kansas City. They're so good at halftime adjustments. It didn't show last week against the Dolphins, but that's because Mike McDaniels made a great halftime adjustment for the offense for the Dolphins. But I also, when you go into halftime as the Chiefs and Steve Spagnuolo and you're winning 21-0, you don't really think you need to make too many adjustments on defense.
Yeah.
Just saying. But yeah, so no, that's a huge kudos to Andy Reid's coaching tree, is that guys know how to make adjustments during the game to fix what's going on. Here's something Sean Desai has done so good this season. Also, Brian Johnson, the offensive coordinator for the Eagles, Sean Desai and Johnson for the Eagles have also both gotten so good at in-game adjustments. It didn't look so good at the beginning of the year, but the last 3 weeks they've trailed going into halftime and come out and won the game because A, their defense only gives up 6 or less points, and B, their offense puts up 14-21. That's how you win games. You make adjustments. You make competent adjustments, and you come out on top. So I won't give my prediction, but what's your prediction for the Eagles versus Chiefs, Kyle?
We gotta beat them. I mean, we're due for a win. Like, what is it? The last
3 times the Chiefs have played. Yeah,
the last 4 times or something we've played, we've lost. So I mean, we're due for a win, and I think that everybody really wants it. I mean, Malad is talking. Everybody's talking pretty much for the most part, a little bit chirping here and there. So I think, I mean, honestly, I think statistically speaking, it could go either way. Back like 50-50 pretty much, like toss a coin. If you wanted my honest opinion, I would say just toss the coin. But I just feel like, I don't know. I feel something. I feel like electric.
Give me a score. Give me a score. You got the Eagles winning. I like it. Yeah, give me a score.
All right. So actually, I think that the score is going to be. I think what's going to happen in this game is, I think in the first half, like you were saying, it's going to come down to adjustments. I think in the first half, it's going to be like a real tight-knit game. There's not going to be a lot of scoring, maybe a couple field goals. And I think in the second half is when I think the game is really going to open up. And I think that's when the scoring is really going to take place and the touchdowns are really going to be made, is like in the second half. I think that's what's going to happen. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's probably going to be like a maybe just under 20, like real close, or maybe 20, like just over 20, maybe like in that range. I would say this game's going to be, like a 17-20, or like one of those. That's
21-17 type game. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Listen, I like that. I do. Kyle's got the Eagles to win 21-17. You heard it here first. But that's going to do it for us here on BSing Sports. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thanks for joining us on BSing Sports, part of the BSing Network, where we do a little BS and we talk a whole lot of sports. Have a good night.